Hi, everybody. I'm John from the Apple Fam, and welcome to our podcast. If you've just stumbled onto this, Apple Fam is a group of people who met watching Doug Benson and Geoff Tate play games on Periscope. We like to get together, have fun, and play the games that they play on Doug Loves Movies. Welcome to episode 3, where we take part in a more obscure DLM segment and Muppet cast the movie Rat Race. Apple Fam members Aaron, Sith, Frank, and myself will break down what Muppet should play each role in this crazy ensemble cast. And if you're listening to this, I think you will agree when I say, We love Doug Loves Movies! Let the games begin!
Welcome everyone to the We Love Doug Loves Movies, where we are participating today with Sith,
Hello.
Aaron,
Hello.
and Frank,
Howdy, folks.
and me, John. And today we are Muppet casting the movie Rat Race.
My favorite.
We thought we'd throw it back 20 years.
Yeah.
The innocent year of 2001.
Yes, so this movie was
Pre
randomly
9/11.
Right.
We
yes,
hope.
Yeah.
when we were all so naive.
We were so naive.
Yeah. So
We
this
were wearing
movie,
our shoes through security to get on a plane. What were we thinking?
We could carry bottles of water with us on that plane. It was nuts.
Well, listen, I told my grandmother, when I went to my grandfather's funeral, I told my grandmother, my hotel gave me this free bottle of water. I can't take it on the plane with me. She goes, you can't take a bottle of water on my plane on a plane? I said, no. She goes, I've lived too long.
That's awesome.
yeah. No, that's quite a ways because I think most, if not all of us, have been alive long enough to remember where you could just walk your person down to the gate
You didn't
and
need
wave goodbye.
ID to get on a plane. Unbelievably, before 2001, you didn't have to prove who you were.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just have that ticket.
Just had to have
Exactly.
Yeah.
the
Right on.
audacity.
Yep. So this movie, Rat Race, was chosen by random from a list of options, and Aaron, Frank watched the roll of the dice, and so we'll go through.
And just to say, a roll of the dice from submissions. There were movies submitted, and we picked out of the pot. This one came up.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll keep the other ones in the mix
In the hopper.
for later, because there were some good suggestions. So we'll go through all the main characters of Rat Race, and we'll all give our suggestions for those, and then we'll come back around and we'll all just kind of figure out what we can all agree on.
And I do just want to mention that we did get this idea from Doug Loves Movies podcast, and one of his guests brought this up. I can't remember which one, and I immediately fell in love with the idea. Fortunately, we're all big Muppets fans, and yeah, we definitely feel like this should be a segment for sure for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're making a very big deal out of a very little known Doug Loves Movies game. So, but I think this will be very fun and lead to a lot of good discussion.
Yeah.
So Sith, you said you had a PowerPoint made up with your choices, so we can let's just kind of go with your order, and
Okay.
you can show us, and then we can throw our suggestions in.
Okay, I went in the order of the Google sheet, and so the first one on there is Cuba Gooding Jr. And let's see here, trying to do this. Let's see.
newscaster.
Right? He's hilarious.
Breaking news.
Well, while we're waiting for her, who she picked for Cuba Gooding Jr., that's okay. I'll go ahead and let you know that I picked Kermit. And there's a reason I picked Kermit. Mostly it's the bus wrecking with the Lucy's and the like just he's trying so hard to keep it together and explodes, many times. And that's how I kind of feel like Kermit tries hard and then he finally flips out. And so I thought he would be good for the role.
Okay.
Not a bad choice.
And you said Kermit?
I did.
I really played with the idea of him being Kermit. And let's see. Oh, the host had disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, what? Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Okay. Let me get in here. You can share all participants. Okay.
Learning curve.
So I tooled around with that idea as well, because he does seem to be kind of a lovable loser, but I felt like Scooter kind of fit the role a little bit more because he's more a little bit off on his own, where Kermit is usually paired up with Piggy. So this is why I went with Scooter, but it was a really tough choice for me.
Right.
I could definitely, there's a good case for Kermit for the Cuba Gooding Jr. role. I think it's Owen Templeton. I think that's his full character's name though, but I actually went with Ralph, believe it or not. I have Kermit picked for another character in the movie, but I thought Ralph fit it best. I know he's always cool. He doesn't lose his temper though, but Cuba Gooding Jr. does. I just figured it just matched right with Cuba Gooding Jr. though, but
like a
but yeah,
positive
making this, yeah, but I'm making this list up with all the Muppets correlating with the right characters, it was a challenge though, but I had to make some sacrifices, and I figured, there's certain characters that do have some similar traits, but I felt fit better with another character in the movie.
Right.
Yep.
This is crazy.
There's Ralph over there.
Yep. Oh, Ralph. Oh. This is a crazy one because I think we all kind of got a different feel on this character, probably based on different parts and times of the movie. I actually went with Fozzie for this role.
Okay. I could totally see that.
Off the feeling of that first scene and the bumbling and the just the weirdness. But yeah, this is a really crazy one where I can see it. It can go this character can go a lot of different ways. Because he's kind of on his own path in this in this movie. So it'd be character development for any one of those characters.
Yeah. So I mean, no, I could definitely see every once in a while Scooter finally flips out. So I could see that working. Yeah. So I don't have him cast as anything else. I have
same thing with I was gonna say same thing with Ralph. You rarely see him, show a breakdown of any point. But yeah, we can, there's room to have him do that. Shows like dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll be a strange one to come back to.
Yes.
Once we come.
He's really hard to peg. He's really kind of hard to peg. He fits a lot of categories,
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Next one, Aaron, what you got?
Okay, so this is Rowan Atkinson playing Enrico Pollini, and after really thinking about it, because could have gone so many ways there, I decided New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
And that was my choice as well.
Oh.
Spoilers, it's not your turn, John.
Oh yeah.
Yes, funny stuff. No, I just it's the look of him and just the weirdness and the boomerang fish, and I mean, I thought maybe Animal would have also done a good job. Like, however, could just so weird, and I could the narcolepsy with Animal, and falling asleep would, but New Zealand really just kind of encompasses the whole Mr. Bean weirdness.
Yeah. Well, I hate to do this, but
no, PowerPoint it, girl.
I'm gonna have to totally agree with you.
That's so great.
That's perfect.
Love it.
So Frank, what was your Rowan Atkinson?
So I completely forgot about Lou though, but I picked Sam the Eagle because it's like the only character that I could think of that can resemble Rowan Atkinson. Even though he's more of a stern character, though, I could see him like trying to open up his shell a bit, being like improvising and being more of a goofball. That's how I had him picked out for Rowan Atkinson's role, though. But Lou's a great choice. If I would have known about, I completely forgot about Lou. If I would have known about it, I would have picked him instead, though. But that's why I went with Sam the Eagle.
Lou, yeah, energy.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, he's just perfect.
Hey Frank, real quick, who was your Cuba Gooding Jr. pick?
Ralph.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to keep track of everybody's as we're going through. So that brings us to Lanai Chapman. His character Merrill Jennings.
Who was your pick, John?
This one, I dug deep and went old school, and my pick on this one was Betty Lou, who was the small pink character with the blonde hair.
Oh, you mean Annie Sue?
No, Betty Lou. This would be here.
Sesame Street.
Yeah, it goes back. It almost predates.
Us.
Predates. It's
that
little girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah, I dug deep, and I just thought it would be so funny to see that little character get so frustrated and
angry.
That's awesome. I took it to a different show. I went over to Fraggle Rock and decided she was more like Red.
Oh, okay. I see it. Yeah. So I went in another direction. I mean, and I gotta say, I would have loved to see this character developed more. I don't feel like we really truly got a good grasp of her character, but I went with Jill. Marketing. She was a business exec.
I'm Jill. This is Gil and Phil.
Yeah, and I felt like we didn't really get much more of her character than that, so that's why I picked Jill.
Okay,
so we're great.
No, so on to me. So it's Merrill Jennings, Whoopi's daughter, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So I went with Annie Sue from the Muppets, who was Miss Piggy's counterpart, if you will, because it would lead perfectly into Whoopi's character of Vera Baker, who I've chosen.
For Piggy?
And for those who don't remember Annie Sue, she was like the nice country bumpkin that was always cordial. So she was completely opposite of Miss Piggy. and she was more easy. You can get along with her easily.
Okay. All right. And that's your choice for Meryl.
For Meryl, yes.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to Whoopi Goldberg's character.
Yep.
So Frank, you set it up.
Yes, I did. So for Vera Baker, I went with the one and only Miss Piggy.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I have her cast elsewhere.
I also have Miss Piggy cast elsewhere.
Yeah,
but
I ran with Janice for Whoopi.
Oh.
Because the blonde hair, first of all, and the ditziness of the character. Whoopi's character is so kind of scattered and weird, and so is Janice.
And I also had Janice for that role, for kind of the weird, like metaphysical hippie kind of thing, and with the Betty Lou, with the mother-daughter blonde yarn hair thing.
So I also cast really more for visuals, where I cast Whoopi Goldberg and Annie Sue.
Nice.
No, that's
not really taking in personality much, but I felt like that was that. I mean, that's Annie Sue vibes, or Annie Sue's giving off the Whoopi vibes right there with the
totally
gold.
Yeah, and to go back to my choice too, it had to be a good combo. So that's why I went with Miss Piggy and Annie Sue. They would make a convincing mother and daughter duo.
Gotcha.
Totally understand that. I kind of did that with Seth Green and Vince Viluf. I don't know how to say his last name, but Blaine Cody and Blaine Cody. Because as brothers, I felt like they needed to be a duo. So I did Seth's character as Dr. Benson Honeydew, and Vince's as Beaker, because he appears his tongue on the and Benson's always kind of setting Beaker up to be the fall guy for something, and that's really kind of the way I felt those two characters mesh. So
okay, well, I had a different view, so let me share. And I felt that was more of, because it was pure comic relief, right? It was Seth Green's journey. I felt he was more Fozzie, and they're not really a pair, but I would just
Animal.
Bear with me. Vince and Animal right here. I think, because Animal can't speak that great,
Well, I would have done Seth as Animal and Vince still as Beaker.
But did you see the hat?
I was doing that.
Did you see the hat?
Yeah,
that was,
and and with the whole scene with Vince flirting with the other girl in the car,
and Vince goes off.
Totally
there's a point where Vince actually goes and he punches. Remember at the airport, they're in line.
Baker loses it too.
Punches somebody. But he's not. He doesn't punch people. So just that in defense of my choices. But okay,
no, totally. I get it. They're good choices.
No, for my choices too, I went a little off the wagon, if you will. So I didn't choose any of the characters that you mentioned. It's been a while since I saw this movie, but for Wayne Cody and Vince's characters, I went with for Seth Green's, I went with Gonzo, and then I went with Grover, because those pairs are like very outliers, if you will, like outcasts, like very goofy and silly. And I figured, what would be a great duo to have both Grover and Gonzo doing their thing and just getting at each other's nerves, doing their little own weird niche, if you will. So that's why I chose them.
Yeah, I see the energy behind that for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right on. So my choice for that duo, I went back and forth on a couple. I'll give you my alternate afterwards, but I ended up going with Scooter for the Seth Green character. And I still went with Beaker for the Blaine Cody one. I could just see it in that whole air tower sequence with the ladder. Yep. My alternate for that one was going to be Rizzo for the Seth Green character and Pepe the Prawn for the Vince character.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
Yep. I guess so. That moves us on to the Breckenmeyer Amy Smart pair up. I'll give you mine because it's really vanilla. It's the pretty standard Kermit and Piggy. And I think Piggy would own that role just for the pool scene and the
helicopter
sheer rage.
Yeah. I almost for Amy Smart went with Spamela until the helicopter scene, and then I see this is full Piggy for sure.
I picked Piggy for Amy Smart too, but I went Floyd Pepper for Breckenmeyer.
I definitely went Kermit for Breckenmeyer. They meet. They're both reading a book at a bar. I felt like that was a very Kermit kind of bookish thing to do.
Hey, we're reading the same book.
Yeah, and he does the right thing at the end. He kind of, encourages everybody to, give the money over to the charity. I thought that would be a Kermit thing to do. So that was my reasoning.
No, I picked the same thing. I picked Kermit because Breckenmeyer is like the straight guy in the movie, and who would be the perfect straight guy? Kermit the Frog. So that's why I went though. But for Amy Smart's character, instead of Miss Piggy, I went with Janice because I thought Miss Piggy would be better suited for Whoopi, since she's like I said, I haven't seen this movie in a while though, but with Whoopi, she's more of like a confident person and, stands out and has years of experience. So I went with Piggy for Whoopi's character, and then Janice for Amy Smart's character, since she's a little younger and almost resembles Amy Smart in a way with the blonde hair.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's why I went with Janice.
That's a weird, weird kind of flip.
I could see Piggy piloting a helicopter, but I don't know if I could see Janice piloting a helicopter. So that's
like wow, we're in the
air.
I feel like I'm flying.
Right? She usually does feel like she's flying, man.
Right on.
So that moves us to John Lovitz.
Yeah.
Oh, does it? Oh, I thought
and Kathy Najimy.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I skipped one.
The Pears, which is hilarious.
Yep.
So for this one, I went Gonzo and Camilla.
Oh.
I almost went that way.
Gonzo and John Lovitz are like almost the same person. Acting. I mean, like it just works out too well.
and it's very sad that there's not more female Muppet characters, because you have the incomparable Kathy Najimy reduced to a chicken. Right.
However, but all the other chickens can be the kids for the I'm grandpa.
Right. I mean, but it's very sparing, on our female Muppets. So I almost went that route very, very closely. Let me see here. I will show you what I went with, and let's see. I went with Ratso, Rizzo, and Yolanda. Because to me, John Lovitz gives off very Ratso Rizzo kind of energy, and so Yolanda, it's hard to find pairings, outside of Kermit and Piggy, and I felt like that was a good, and of course, rats are known for their being prolific, so I'm sure kids would not be a problem.
No, so I picked Fozzie for John Lovitz's character. No, because John Lovitz is old school comedy, and I figure who would be best fitted for that role is Fozzie Bear, and then who I picked for Mrs. Pear is Beth Bear. who's well known for the Muppets Take Manhattan. I think she appeared in a couple of the
Girl Bear.
Muppet shows episodes. Yeah, and then the whole family would consist of the Bear Clan, if you will, from like the Muppets Take Manhattan. So I figured,
Bear.
yeah, there you go. So I figured that would be a great choice to have them fit into the the Pear family role.
Very cute.
That's a pretty good one. I didn't think of that whole like what the families are out there. I was with Aaron, or I was with Gonzo and Camilla, and it's the Camilla casting is really just all about the Gonzo one, to put it with there. But I think I think Kathy deserves maybe a little bit better than being reduced to chicken sounds.
I mean, she would kill it if she did voice that chicken. There's no question.
Oh yeah. And to me, I'm like, it just makes me laugh to think of all those scenes just with chicken voices. But that's my weird brain. And so that brings us to a very interesting casting. I had to think a bunch on who would be the game master Donald Sinclair, who was played by John Cleese. I, for a couple of different reasons, not necessarily just for the teeth thing, but I did go with Dr. Teeth.
I can see that
one. He would be a crazy, weird conductor of ceremonies for this craziness.
So I went on a different route. So for Donald Sinclair and his assistant Harold, I went with Statler and Waldorf. Because they are John Cleese's character and Dave Thomas's character are old school. And I figured what would be the best fit for to have people to establish those characters with Muppets, and Statler and Waldorf do it. I mean, they're old school. They're grumpy old men, don't care much, and they wouldn't mind fooling around with a bunch of people just for their own pleasures. Like who is it? I can't think of the brothers' names though in the Trading Places.
Yes.
Yes. Dukes, exactly. The Dukes. I was thinking about the Dukes. There we go. That it came out. Yeah, so I had that in mind for them.
So you agree, Aaron. And so for me, I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna explain myself. So to me, I felt like John Cleese had a mad scientist vibe. And also, if you've ever been to Disney World and Bunsen Honeydew in their Muppet experiences, it's kind of in charge in a lot of ways, in charge and kind of guiding you through everything. I felt that was kind of that energy. And then the Dave Thomas character does not speak very much in the beginning, and then like you get to that point where he's like, Pepto-Bismol, shave my ass. It felt like a very meet kind of Beaker kind of energy.
That would be pretty funny, just to see that.
Yeah. So that was my thinking between these two. I thought that kind of made sense to me. So
yeah. So well, to fill that out, my Dave Thomas was going to be Sam the Eagle. To Dr.
Choice.
That would be good to see him kind of do some of that Dave and Dave Thomas, also criminally underused in the movie. Comedic genius.
Right.
Yep. I mean, that's actually all the main players. So then the couple secondary players that we have currently listed are the Paul Rodriguez character, which is the cab driver.
We had Kathy Bates.
And Kathy Bates, the squirrel lady. I have a casting for Smash Mouth as the band at the end of the movie.
And then I also have one for Dean Kane's character.
Awesome.
Oh, right.
I have one for Wayne Knight's character.
Excellent.
All right, on. So for Paul Rodriguez, the cab driver, I put Pepe the Prawn
I could totally
in
see
that-
that.
Yes.
in that role.
Mhm.
Does anybody have a Paul Rodriguez?
Oh, you know I got a Paul Rodriguez. Okay, hang on. Gotta get to. All right. Thanks for. Thank you for your patience. Your call is very important to us. Okay. So right here, I felt Paul Rodriguez had a crazy hairy vibe.
I
Yes.
think that's an excellent call.
He was up for a couple roles in my mind. He
Yeah,
was
that's-
almost the Seth Green character for me. Right on.
Totally.
And I have a Kathy Bates squirrel lady when everybody else is.
I have a Kathy Bates one too, but my Wayne Knight one, which is the guy that's with Rowan Atkinson through the whole movie, Newton from Seinfeld, was Fozzie. Like I could just so see Fozzie.
I could see Fozzie
playing
totally
that role.
mishandling the heart transplant the way that Wayne Knight did. I do agree with that.
Yep.
Does this look like some
Just,
bit on this heart? Are these teeth marks? Yeah, I could totally see Fozzie in that
Yeah.
situation.
just works too well.
Yeah, I put Sweetums as the Kathy Bates squirrel lady.
Oh yeah. I could totally. I think I had a Sweetums almost on that one. Frank, what about you?
No, so the only person that I casted from like the supporting cast from Rat Race was Dean Cain's character. And I couldn't think of a better choice than Link Hogthrob.
Oh yeah.
No,
No, that's
because
good.
Dean Cain's character is like the stud in it, and Amy Smart's like all jealous. I figured, why not? He's like the hunk of all the Muppets, if you will, like the star-studded star. So that matched with Dean Cain's personality. I figured put 2 and 2 together, and there you go, Link Hogthrob. And if you cast it, like you said, Miss Piggy in the Amy Smart role, it makes perfect sense to have him as the Dean Cain character.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Oh yeah, and for Smash Mouth, I would put forth Bobby Benson and the Baby Band.
Oh my God, yeah.
I totally want to hear Smash Mouth songs done on child toys.
Somebody once told me the world.
I don't know if it's touring the
Too cute. Killing me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
nuts.
I'll just give you my Kathy Bates.
Oh,
Rolf.
yeah,
I
that
thought
would work. That would so work.
she definitely had Rolf energy. Rolf would totally be into squirrels. There's no doubt. He would be obsessed
Would you
with
like to
squirrels.
buy a squirrel?
Yes.
Well, all you gotta do is you go down to the info room. Take a
Again,
left.
just want to say, Academy Award winner Kathy Bates,
As
not given
Rolf.
much to work with, makes a heck of a lot out of it, as much as she can, and gives off really good positive Rolf energy.
yeah, she's fun for sure.
Yeah.
Mine, I went out of the Muppets and into the Dark Crystal because Agra. Oh, you want squirrel, do you? Working out really well. She just looks like her, Agra really has the right vibe.
Yeah, there's a big universe, a Henson universe to pull from. I love it.
There is a grotesque lack of female Muppets,
Without a question.
and I would like to tell the Muppet people to get more female Muppets.
Absolutely.
And I think they're trying with some of the new stuff. And there's a lot more Sesame Street female characters I know that are popping up, and
Yeah.
so you gotta. I mean, you have as many female characters as you got female
As you do in regular
puppeteers and
movies.
stuff in there. Because I mean, the female
Well, you know, it is
characters.
a shame where you have a movie that passes the Bechdel test, and you have, and your casting pool is so shallow. That's all I gotta say.
Well, it is for as woke as they have been since as long as they've been going. I mean, a lot of the main female characters have still been voiced by male. I mean, Frank Oz, just even specifically. So it's it's a thing kind of in
there's room for improvement. I don't think anybody questions that with Muppets and their female characters.
It just made it harder to cast the female roles because we just didn't have as big of a pool. Where with the guys, there really is a huge pool. And I thought about putting different characters in drag, like Rolf in drag is great. But, not even in drag, but he's the squirrel guy instead of the squirrel lady, I guess. Squirrel dog. However you want to look at it. But I don't know. It was difficult because I didn't want to insult Whoopi by, saying this male character would be a better fit for her. So that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to kind of take off the energy of the character in a lot of ways because there's not a lot of depth to the female Muppets.
To the movie itself. So
yeah. All right. Well.
Okay, so if we're gonna go back through it and actually try, and now based on the information that we have,
what would our Muppet movie look like?
Yes, because I know some of the things that I have changed based on the opinions of other people and what other people have said. So if we go back through and start with maybe let's not start with the Cuba Gooding Jr. part because that
one's the hardest.
That one gets pretty controversial. So let's start with the big determining one, which is the Leilani Chapman, Whoopi Goldberg, and Breckenmeyer, Amy Smart, where it's really the casting of where Piggy is going to determine, I think, some of the other casting of this. Where if she's in the Whoopi Goldberg part, that really changes the Leilani Chapman. If she's in the Amy Smart, that kind of
I think it's the only romantic pairing in the movie, kind of the only kind of rom-com-y kind of story. I think the Kermit Piggy, of course, that was my choice, and I know other people had chosen it. I kind of feel like that's I guess
it works.
Choice. Yeah.
But it's the do we always have to cast Kermit with Piggy, but
it's true.
I'm all for keeping it traditional with this one.
Yeah. Especially with Amy Smart having that rage I felt was very Piggy.
Oh, it's so Piggy.
I completely agree with you guys. So I wouldn't mind changing my pick to Miss Piggy, but still having Kermit as the Breckenmeyer character.
Okay.
Yep. So I think we're all in agreement on that one. That if we're going kind of a very in this first one that we're doing, if we're going a kind of traditional Muppet casting, and from here going forward, we can start getting crazy. And I'd love to see weird spin-off movies where here's some weird character that's now the main thing. So, okay, so if we have Kermit as Breckenmeyer and Piggy as Amy Smart, let's go back to the
Cody
Lalani
brothers.
Chapman. Or we can go to let's go to the Cody brothers. So there have been a few. So for Seth Green, there was a number of them thrown out.
I don't think any of us agreed on the Seth Green.
Seth Green.
No, yeah, it was across the board.
Yeah, Fozzie, Dr. Benson, Honeydew, Gonzo, and Scooter. And this is like a comedic pairing, so it's these do. I mean, for the Blaine Cody, there were a couple Beakers, an Animal, and a Grover. I think those all could fit. I mean, I personally like the Beaker just like freak out nature of that role. I keep seeing him in that airport radar scene trying to climb up the ladder. But I could see somebody else in there.
I still think Benson, Honeydew, and Beaker, because if we're doing the pairings that would traditionally go together, but also because in that sense, Seth Meyers' character was always setting his brother up to end up hurt or in trouble somehow. And that's just kind of what Honeydew and Beaker kind of.
Yeah, there was the mastermind and and comedic. The pairing. Yeah, I could totally go that way.
I might have had him as Beaker at one point, but I kind of liked him more as Animal in that, like when I saw like him punch somebody, and it felt like he was a little more of not as accidentally kind of destructive, but I can concede.
Yeah, that would be who would. Oh, and you had Fozzie paired with Animal, and I could see Scooter and Animal.
Yeah,
that weird pairing?
That would be a good
Scooter and
pairing.
Beaker, Scooter and Animal would totally be a good pairing.
Scooter and Animal would be a good pairing.
Scooter's weird nature of trying to keep things together, and
and Animal, because he can hardly talk because of that tongue piercing. So he's like, blah, blah, blah,
blah. And like I said, when you said that, just that whole scene with him and the girl in the other car with all the piercings, it so plays to
it works.
Animal.
I mean,
that was another reinforcing thing for Animal to me. Was just you could see Animal going with his mouth wide open, right? And then Scooter crashing the car. So I would say a Scooter Animal team up would be probably the best. But
are we all good with
works
Scooter
for
and
me?
Animal?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that would be a fun one there. So do we want to do Lalani and Whoopi or the Pear family?
Let's do the pairs.
Pear family.
I think after Frank's suggestion, I really think that whole Bear family as the pairs does.
Who did you have as John Lovitz?
He had Fozzie, but I'd almost put, who's the other bear?
Bob Bear. I love
Bear.
Bob.
Just put that whole Bear family.
Yeah. I kind of like the Bear family. Yeah, I like the Bear family in that whole situation.
So the Bear family minus Fozzie.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put him as it is because he did. Where did he pop up? Was it the Jim Henson Presents stuff? The Bob Bear later
he's
character.
definitely in like the 2015 television show, and I really liked him in that. I don't know why, I just really identified with him a lot. I don't.
Yeah, I know they appeared in the Muppets Take Manhattan. That's the earliest I can think of. He might
that's true.
have appeared in like some of the Muppet shows.
Yeah.
My earliest recollections from Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah, and I know the Muppet, the show in the 90s that popped up. He was in that one. That's where the King Prawn first popped up. And the crazy weird alien looking dread guy.
Right.
His name escapes me. Yeah. So I think yeah. And now that we think, he does actually make a good John Lovitz type character. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I imagine Bob the Bear driving that Nazi car. To me it really, really worked.
Yeah. I think we found something there. Okay, so crazy. So going back to Lalani and Whoopi.
Yeah, that one's tough, right?
Well, we got Piggy's in the Amy Smart position.
We can remove Miss. I was going to say we can remove Miss Piggy from the Whoopi character, like you were mentioning.
So then for Whoopi, we basically have Annie, Sue, and Janice sitting out there. And
if we're going by personality, totally Janice. If we're going by look, Annie Sue.
That's a tough one. It's a split. It's really a split on that.
Yeah, I would say it would depend on who we can get.
Availability.
I'm totally cool with going with Annie Sue just because she looks the part. But then with that, there's not a lot of other pigs to choose from.
But you wouldn't necessarily have to choose
and apologies to Miss Goldberg.
No, entirely. What about Yolanda for her daughter?
Yolanda the rat?
Yeah.
You don't like Jill, the marketing lady?
I could see Jill.
Well, no, Jill for sure. Okay, Jill. Yeah, and that does another frog pig connection.
Oh my God.
Good.
Well, and
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, she's got that whole the business person where you can see.
Yeah, but a picture with a frog. It's a frog pig. They could be related to Kermit and Piggy somewhere.
You're right.
Like an offset.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, I know we all agree on New Zealand for Rowan Atkinson.
Yes.
I completely agree. New Zealand's the perfect person for that role.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
So where are we at with Whoopi?
Whoopi is
Annie Sue.
Jill is Lonnie.
Yep, and Jill. Yep. That totally works. Okay,
and I think that leaves for just a leap forward. I think that really leaves us for Cuba Gooding Jr. as Fozzie. I think I think that is who said Fozzie? I didn't say Fozzie, but who said Fozzie for
John?
I did. Ralph's still out there too.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of Ralph and Fozzie.
I could see Fozzie being in the Bus of Lucy's. I see more of a Fozzie kind of
and bumbling the coin flip kind of thing.
Yes,
that's a very Fozzie-like personality.
That is a very Fozzie
trait to do.
Trying to hide the fact that he made a huge screw up affecting people's lives. Yeah, that's Fozzie to me.
Okay,
totally.
So that brings us to, the last two main players are the John Cleese and Dave Thomas players, which,
Besides Kathy Bates.
oh yeah, and then the
Okay.
side characters. And I'm totally, I'm totally willing to cede to the Statler and Waldorf in basically interchangeable roles. Like it almost doesn't matter which ones of those they are.
Oh, the taller one is John Cleese. It's obvious.
To me, I'm just going to say, to me, of watching the movie, I felt that the people betting on the outcome were more of the Statler and Waldorf.
I was kind of coming around to Dr. Teeth, but I think that the Dave Thomas one would be like Zoot.
Or
the sax player. He doesn't talk a lot, like you said, but you could picture him doing weird shit with Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. But I'm almost, since they didn't go elsewhere, I'm almost with Sith in the Honeydew Beaker casting here and putting Beaker in that Dave Thomas role. Almost for that scene of the like
and I could that's going to be $3,000.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like when he's totally seduced by the prostitute, you know Beaker would totally be seduced by a prostitute and think that she was going to split the $2 million.
That's true. That's very true.
Yes.
Oh, so who would get cast as that? As the prostitute?
The prostitute? Oh.
Who would be taking the
Spamela? Spamela was a Muppet that was modeled after Pamela Anderson.
I'll bring it up. Also Miss Piggy.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking
yes.
about.
Yeah, she's the Pamela Anderson. I'll bring up her image. Let's see here. Let's see.
Well, if we have that would totally be her.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
That would totally be her.
That works.
The Kathy Bates character, now that you've said Rolf, I can't get the idea out of my head.
Yeah.
Like by a squirrel. You kind of nailed it.
I feel like
by a squirrel.
I feel like that character was really underserved because you don't like end up selling like squirrel food on the side of the road without like another kind of like, and aliens live among us, and it got my abduction story. Like I felt like there was more. There could have been more, to that character, even though selling squirrel food on the side of the road and giving directions is okay. But I felt like there could have been like a little extra dimension to that character.
And it wasn't necessarily squirrel food, it was squirrels. Like you should have bought a squirrel.
That's right. She was selling what, stuffed squirrels, and then
live squirrels. You should have bought a squirrel.
At that point, the movie, I may not have been paying 100% attention.
Yeah, and I think maybe some of them were stuffed too, but like she was mentally ill. It was like literally when you end up in the sticks in Colorado, and like there are places like this where and like you
ever wander off the turnpike in Florida?
Well, then that's it. You walk the directions. You're like, hey, do you know how to get there? And they're like, come on inside and get a cup of coffee. See my clown collection.
Oh yeah.
Got to decide what to do in those instances.
Thanks for tuning in to Apple Fam's We Love Doug Loves Movies podcast. Look for a bonus episode soon where Drummer Mike joins and gives us his Muppet casting picks. If you'd like to connect and play games with us, check out WLDLM on Twitter. Be sure to check out the Rough Drafts podcast with Geoff Tate, Trey Gallion, and Troy Tate. If you're here, you should already be listening to all of Doug Benson's podcasts. And for all of Doug's dates and deets, check out DougLovesMovies.com. That's DougLovesMovies.com. Yeah! Caw-caw! Wallet! Shh! Ted Danson? Should have bought a squirrel.